Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Modded Minecraft. I'm your humble host. See you later, and it's so good to see you back with us again today. Hopefully this episode is going to be just a little bit shorter than the previous one. I didn't even realize I'd gone on and on for so long, but I swear I was having so much fun that I decided just to go ahead and leave it in. So it's over an hour long last episode. And in case you didn't get a chance to see that one, let me just recap real quick about what we were looking at. So if we pop on in the house here, we were taking a look at some of the decorations and things that we've done, and we talked about plastic and how to get started with industrial foregoing. We talked about storage systems, and that's about it. I mentioned some other things about some decorative items with the rustic mod, like these candles and this nice chandelier right over here. But other than that, the main thing that we did was we set up the mob farm downstairs. And I just want to tell you, it's been doing awesome. So let's go down and take a look at it. But before we do, I have installed this amazing elevator. And I was looking at elevators, and there are several different types of elevator. If you just type in elevator, there are elevator blocks from open blocks. Those are pretty easy. You just put one above and one below, and then when you jump, it teleports you up and down. Those are really cool. That's what I was planning on using for our multi-tiered building that we have here, multi-floor. And when I went to go type in elevator, I noticed some other things. So we have also elevator controls from RF Tools, and we also have this right here. So the elevator and elevator controller from, and I believe it's pronounced Tuts or Toots. The H is silent. But if I just type in Tuts, T-H-U-T, you'll see there are actually 3 items that show up in JEI. There is a 4th item, and that is this manual that kind of tells you how to use the system. And the recipe for that is real simple. You just put a regular book and this device linker together, and it will give you the manual. Now, it does consume the device linker, so you'll need 2 of these if you're going to get started with this mod. But let me show you real quick how that works. It's really actually pretty simple. So, don't overcomplicate things. So let's say I want to make a 3x3 elevator. I'm just gonna, I've got a super OP shovel here. So let me dig out, let's do a 3x3. So what I'm gonna do is I just grab some birch wood here, and I'm just gonna put down, now you can use any block, so it doesn't matter what kind it is. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put this guy here and this elevator controller block. And let me show you how that's made real quick. These are also, by the way, they don't require ender pearls. They're pretty cheap. It's just iron and redstone. So that is the elevator control block. This is the elevator block, and you will need multiple of these depending on the size, and I believe it goes by the diagonal. So for a 3x3, you're going to need 3. And as you can see, just some stone and iron. Pretty simple. And let's go ahead and place this down. Oh man, looks like it's going to be dark soon. Let me go ahead and sleep real quick. I've got my bedroll here. Okay, so let's get back to it. Now, the tools that you're going to use in this mod are the device linker, which I have right here. It looks kind of like a remote control. That's a very important one. And the other important one is a stick. You are going to need a stick. It is one of the tools that is used in this mod. So now that all you need to do with the elevator blocks is just have them in your inventory. You don't actually need to place those down. What you're going to do is just make sure you just shift and right click. Okay, and I did it on a block. It said reset device linker. And what we're going to do is we're going to right click on one corner block. And I know it's hard to see out here, but it is drawing a little bit of a red line. I don't know if you can see it. Just barely you can see it right in the middle there. It's drawing a bounding box. If I pull it up, you can see it can actually do a little bit of a larger structure as well. I'm not sure what the limit is, but if you just want to do the 3x3, you click here on the first one, and then you go to the opposite corner and click again. It says, okay, so it didn't set it. So it says set first corner Set first corner. Okay, so right click to set the first corner, shift right click to set the second one. And you can see we got a message that said successfully made elevator. This is now an elevator, believe it or not. Now, these blocks that are in the elevator are, I believe, no longer regular blocks. I don't know if you can hear, but I get grass walking here, and I don't get the wood walking sound when I walk on top of this. Also, it feels a little bit like you're walking on ice. You kind of slide a little bit, but that's okay, because the nice thing about this thing is it works very, very well as an elevator, and I can't wait to show it to you. So next thing we're going to do is, I've already put down a controller block, but we need to decide where we're going to go to. So I'm just going to put some of these scaffoldings down here. Okay, and these controller blocks basically just need to be 2 blocks above wherever you are going to stop. So let's say we want to stop here. We're going to put the elevator controller block right on top of that one. Okay, and the way you set these guys up is you use the stick, okay, and you just right click with the stick and see how it turns on these buttons. Now you can have multiple sides, and if you click multiple times you can, or I think if you shift click, it will actually cycle through. No, I think maybe it's limited. It did have an option before where you could go to 64, but I'm not sure how you... there you go. So if you right click, just regular right click with the controller, it goes up, and you can do positive and negative. And I actually didn't know that, so I might reset mine up so that this is the first floor, and then the other ones are negative, and then the other ones are positive. But we'll check that out in a little bit. So if I go back through to the first one here, all I have to do is, wherever this is, all I have to do is shift and right click on what floor I want this to be. Okay, before you do that though, as you can see, edit mode, it says set to true. You do have to shift and right click on the elevator to link the little controller, the device linker, and then you can shift right click on the button. So I feel like I might be, I maybe have confused some people. So let's just review real quick. It's regular click to set, shift right click to make the elevator. Then you have to shift right click on the elevator and then shift right click on the floor. So right now this is the first floor. Now if we head back up here, I believe I can climb up these scaffoldings with our stick. I can get right over on top of this guy. Obviously this is going to be 2, so I just need to click to open that, and this device linker is already set to the elevator, so if I just shift right click on the 2, it should set it to 2, and you can see it registers that you have 1 already and that this is the second one. Now I can hop down again, or if I just right click on the button for number 2, it will call the elevator, and it will stop 2 blocks below this block. So here we are, we're on the second floor of the elevator we just put together. Now if I right click on the 1, it takes us down to the first floor. And just look at this animation, how smooth it is. It's so smooth, you guys. 2, and it even has a speed up, slow down animation, much like a real elevator would in real life. And you could just ride this thing up and down all day long, and it's so much fun. So what if I wanted to set another floor? Well, it's pretty easy. Wherever you want to set another floor, you just use another controller block. So let's say if I just go up here about halfway in between those 2, and I'm just going to real carefully try to place this block if I can. Can I? There, I placed it right before I jumped down. And then if I do the same thing with the stick, I'm just going to hop down here, okay, and just right click to turn on the face, just like that, and then use the device linker. Now, I know this is a little bit backwards, but let's set this one to 2 and see what happens. So now this floor is set to 2. So what about this one? That one I'm going to need to reset, and I'll make it floor 3. So we'll come up here. And I'm doing this all, I wish I had flight, so This one now will be set to 3rd floor. So again, let's go ahead and call it to the 3rd floor. Okay, there it comes. Go to the 2nd floor. Oh, that didn't work. I think because this was already set. So let me just hop down here. Okay, that won't work. I need to reset this one to the 2 again. Yeah, see, it unset it. So make sure you set up everything first, probably, to get it to work right. But let me go ahead, I'll right click on 2 and we'll call it up to us. So this is the 2nd floor, and then we can go up to the 3rd floor. Now we can go down to the 2nd floor, or we can go down to the 1st floor. Okay. And if for some reason it's not where you need it to be, like let's say I send it up to the 3rd floor. Oh dang, it's up there at the 3rd floor. It's okay, because these controllers down here act as call buttons as well. And I can call it to any floor. I can call it to the 2nd floor, or if I need it to come to me, I can call it to the 1st floor. And you'll see that whatever floor you're on is actually a different color than the other one, so you'll know which one to press if you need to call the elevator. So once again, 2 takes us to the 2nd. Now, one more thing that's really cool is when you get to the floor, this block will output a redstone signal. Okay, that's pretty cool. You could put a note block on here so that when you arrive it goes bing or something like that. The other thing that you could do is when you enclose this, you can set a door near this or have some redstone hooked up to a door, and the door will actually open via the redstone, and then it'll close again once you go away. It'll close the door again, and that's what I have set up in the house. So I'm gonna leave this here, and then I'll go in and show you what we did inside the house. So right now I have this set up so that the bottom floor on the very bottom is 1, and I am going to change that now that I found out these do negative numbers. So I will reset so that this is the 1st floor, and then we'll do 2nd and 3rd, and then -1, -2 down below. So I'll probably just do that off camera. But I made some Malice's doors that have redstone interaction, and I just made them with iron bars in the door factory block. And you can see they're open right now. If I want to go up to the roof, I go to the 5th floor, okay, which is way up there. And I made this elevator shaft that goes all the way from the bottom to the top. But if I just click 5, you see those doors closed. And when we get up here to the top, this door opens, which is really cool. And I like the look of the iron bars because it kind of reminds me of an industrial elevator, somewhat, you know, that has those like, I don't know what you call them, but it's like it's almost like a diamond shape, you know, it's iron bars, and but it slides back and forth. Usually you do that manually, but we have redstone, so why not redstone? So I've just made this little box up here on the top, and then if we want to go all the way down to the very bottom, we can go all the way through past the mob farm to the underneath floor, and we're down here at our mob farm control room and storage. So now that we are down here, I'll go ahead and show you what I was talking about. That's it for the elevators. So those are pretty cool. I may install, just for convenience sake, I may install a couple of those open blocks elevators as well, because I really like those. And boy, do we have ender pearls now. We got 194 ender pearls, and that really slows you down when you don't have ender pearls when it comes to modded Minecraft. So these ender pearls are going to make for a lot of progression now that we have this mob farm going. But not just that. Look, we're getting tons. We've got 2,242 solidified experience. Got 4,332 gunpowder, and I have basically just installed some storage upgrades into these larger ones, because these ones at the bottom, these are the ones we're going to get the most of. And I think this was a little bit of wishful thinking. I hope that we have that many ender pearls, but we were getting all kinds of other stuff. This Flan's armor, and basically I allowed it to come through the system into the drawers that we had originally set up. And then I crafted a bunch of it together whenever there was a pair, two different items that were the same. And I repaired a bunch of this up, and some of it is fully repaired now. And so I think that'll be cool. We might play with this in the future. We might make a buddy, a custom NPC or something like that that's wearing some of this stuff. I think that'll be cool to do. But for right now, once I got this set up so that I know all of the important drops that are coming in, I locked everything, and then I went over to my controller, if you happen to see in the last episode, and I changed the priority between the trash can and the drawer controller. As you can see now, the drawer controller has the number 1 priority and the trash can is 0. So this block right up here, the mob crusher, everything that comes into it, it is going to try to put everything it can into here first, and anything that doesn't fit in here will go into this trash can right over here. It's a much simpler way than setting up the filters like I had demonstrated in the last episode. So right now, if we want to, we can totally turn this guy on, okay, and almost immediately, let's use our nifty elevator, we'll go up to the 2nd floor, right on, and we can look in here, and I don't know if it comes across in the video, but we do have mobs spawning in here periodically, and it's not too crazy, which is good in my opinion. That way you don't get too much lag from having too many entities. Now I did do one more thing, and I'm gonna, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm gonna turn the mob farm off for just a second by turning those lights on, and if you can see in the middle here we have another block. It's called the Disturbed Mob Spawner, and this one is a blaze spawner. And basically all I did was, there's a spawner there in the nether. It's very easy to find a blaze spawner. I took a drop of evil. If I have one in my inventory, let me see. Drop. I don't, but I do have one downstairs. Actually, we have quite a few. You basically just take the drop of evil and you right click, and it will give you a Disturbed Mob Spawner. It destroys the vanilla mob spawner and gives you the Disturbed version, which is really cool because this guy will react to redstone, and it will constantly output mobs even if you are more than 16 blocks away. You can pick up vanilla mob spawners if you have a tool. In this pack, it works with the diamond chest transporter. If you do pick up a block with this, though, you're going to get slowness and hunger and a bunch of other things. You cannot even jump up 1 block. So using this without having a backpack is pretty dangerous, actually, because you'll get caught in the nether with all those negative effects. But this one, I've made a couple of these upgrades from extra utilities and put them in here so that we can speed the operation of this up. And if I turn this guy to ignore redstone, you'll see that almost right away it starts spawning in blaze. So we do have now a very effective way, and also pretty much free, actually. It doesn't cost any energy. It does use grid power when you're using these upgrades here, but as you can also tell, I don't hear any noise. I don't have the game sounds turned down. I don't hear almost any noise coming from this mob room, and the reason for that is another block that I added to the system, and I'm just going to leave that on. We're going to get more blaze. I added another block, actually 4 of them, right down here. And again, this one is from I want to say Open Blocks, but it's actually from Extra Utilities as well. It's a sound muffler. I put one here, one here, one here, and one here, basically in the 4 corners of the spawner room. And that way, whenever we are spawning all sorts of mobs in, we don't have to really hear all that noise. And they are, trust me, they are pretty noisy. Last thing is, I did test this guy out. If we go to the middle here and we drop in our mob imprisonment tool, we will start making at a cost of 5,000 RF. So this is pretty expensive, and we can't run it a lot because our system isn't set up for that much power. But we are making wither skeletons now. If I turn off the mob farm, the cursed earth portion, and we pop up here, we should be able to see wither skeletons coming in along with the blaze. Let's see. Do we see them coming? I hope that this spawner here hasn't caused that other one underneath not to be able to function. I'm not seeing any wither skeletons. Let me turn this guy off. And let's see, do we get any wither skeletons? It's saying that it's making them, but I'm not seeing them. And goodness, I hope they're not spawning downstairs. That would be really, really bad. Let's go check that out. Let me get ready. Are they down here? Oh gosh, they're not down here. Possibly because the wither skeletons are a little taller than other mobs. That may cause them to not spawn in when I have this block on top here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down and see if that fixes the problem. There we go. So they are trying to spawn right on top of this block. And if they tried to spawn higher up, they can't because they're too tall. They're actually taller than normal mobs. I think they're 2.5 blocks tall. Not quite as tall as an Enderman though. So it's not spawning off to the side. I may lower this block down by 1. That would probably help out quite a bit. Because if I put the Disturb spawner back on here, I think that's going to stop our... Yeah, that's going to stop our other guys from spawning. Also, another solution may be if I place this back here. Let's try that. And will we get Blaze and Wither now? We will. So I could even, so that it's easier to get to, I could even put it up here. Yeah, let's do that. Now we're getting Withers and Blaze. But I'm not going to let that run for too long because, one, it eats up power like crazy. Remember, our entire base is running off of one industrial, what's the name? Immersive engineering windmill. One windmill is powering this entire base using a capacitor bank. So if we let this guy run for too long, we will quickly run out of power. Now, the other spawning of mobs and the use of this block, which is the mob crusher, it actually doesn't use that much power. I let this thing run for almost an hour last night after we got off the recording, and it actually did very, very well with our power situation. But as you can see, I did set up a place for us to get blaze rods. We've now got over 300 blaze rods. Plus, we've got these molten cores and these other objects here from Reliquary, which are used to craft some pretty cool stuff. We're getting blizz rods, which is cool because that way we can make blizz powder, which is used for making gelid cryotheum. That's something that we'll work on a little bit later when we get into thermal foundation and such. We've also got some infinity booster cards, which is cool in case we get into applied energistics. But yeah, so there's our mob stuff, and it's coming in great. If I want, I can grab some XP, and we can shift right click to consume full stacks, and look at that. I've got tons of XP, and then I don't want to keep the XP on me, so if we go back up to the 3rd floor, I did clean up from the last episode the XP that was up here. I got rid of the other tanks, and I'm just using this one now. So it works perfectly. You just give a redstone signal to the little shower, and then when you want to drain yourself out, you just stand on top of this guy. And because I have it set up like this, I can also shift, get out on the edge, and I can actually watch the liquid XP number of buckets going up there on the one probe at the top of the screen. So that's pretty cool. We've got over 500 buckets of liquid XP, and that's a lot of XP, you guys. You can do a lot of enchanting with that. And I might get into Ender IO pretty soon because they have a block in there called an enchanter, and it's really cool because it just you just put in the ingredients and you get the enchantment. It leaves nothing to chance, and none of that vanilla stuff. We're playing modded, so there's all of our XP drained. And I want to keep this to a shorter episode, so that's going to be it for this time, you guys. Thanks for coming to hang out, and we're going to do another really cool thing coming up in the next episode, so I hope you'll come back and join me then. Until then, I am See You Later, and I will see you later. See you later, guys. Bye-bye!